Today, we're gonna see server-side request forgery. What does it mean? How does it work? What are the impacts? What are the common attacks? Okay, how to bypass common SSRF defenses, how to use blind SSRF, all these things. What is an SSRF? By the name itself, it is saying server-side request forgery, which means the request has to come from the server, not from us. It has to come from the server, and that particular request we are actually forging it. So that is what server side request forgery is. So let's understand what SSRF is. So how can we make a request delivered by a server side that is forgeable? So this is what we need to understand. So this is our browser, and as usual we send our request, and the server will receive our request and it processes it, and whatever data it needs, it fetches back to us. So this is what actually happens, right? So what if in this server we are looking for a particular resource, a particular file or something like that? So we can use another HTTP request that is made by this server to fetch that particular resource and give it back to us. So this can be another HTTP request. In order to do that, we generate a request. So this will be our request, and in this request we again give another HTTP request. So it is like whenever some resource we want to get, we will use HTTP request. This is one way to do it. This is inside the server itself. Inside the server we are looking to get a resource. What if this server needs to get the resource from another server? Let's say this is server 2. So this server 2 will contain some other resource, let's say an image or HTML page or some other SVG page or whatever it can be. So it is located in a different server. So when we directly send a request to this server, it will not allow it. But when this server sends the request to this server, then it will reply to this server, and from this server we will get our reply back. So we are connecting to this server indirectly through this server. So this server is making the request, right? So what if we were able to forge this request? Since this server accepts the request from this server, then we can forge this request to get the resource that we want. So in the initial case, the resource is inside the server itself, so we need to use something like a localhost request. So for this one we need some other IP address, so we will find out how to do that. So in this way, whatever server or any other resource that accepts request from this server, so we can forge that request to create a server-side request forgery. Let's see that in action. Before we do that, let's try to see what the definition that was given here. The server-side request forgery is a web application vulnerability that allows an attacker to cause a server-side application to make request. So you are making the server-side application to make request to unintended location. So this location is the location that directly accepts any request from this server. Let's see the impact. Impact can be a successful SSRF attack can often result in unauthorized actions or access to data within the organization. This can be a vulnerable application or other backend systems that the application can communicate with. Okay, so whichever the application or the server can communicate with the resource, we can get that resource. Okay, so what are some common SSRF attacks? SSRF attacks against the server. So against the server means to itself, means you need something like a local host, this or this. So this will be the location in which we are trying to get a resource from. We'll see that in detail later. So this one is particularly to the internal servers. So these are called backend systems. Let's say we were able to reach the server, but internally we need the resource from a different server, just like I have described before. So this can be some internally different server. So we are trying to ping this server to get this particular resource from it. So that is one thing. There are some SSRF defenses. So we can bypass that SSRF defenses as well. One way to do is you can directly change the IP address or local host to something else, something like this. So how do you get this number? So this number is usually some decimal number. So I'll give a demo on that as well. You can directly give something like this. So this is the local host itself. We are not completely writing the IP address. So these zeros can be ignored actually. So you can directly write something like this. Let's see what this is. So this is nothing but IP to decimal. So there is some IP address and you want to convert it into decimal. And if you convert that, you will get this number. So I'm just copying this, and as you can see, this is the same number that refers to this IP address. So instead of giving 127.0.0.1, you can directly give this number. So let's say I want to access google.com. So this is the IP address for this google.com. So I'm going to paste it right here and convert it into decimal number. Here we have our decimal number. So if you directly paste it here, you will not get anything. But if you do http :/ and this number, then let's see what happens. And as you can see, you got google.com, right? So what you need to understand from this is computers only understand numbers. Even if you give in the form of IP addresses or in the form of decimals, HTTP protocol is being used. So it doesn't matter. So you can access to any IP address using this decimal number. So this is what is written over here. So this is how you can circumvent this SSRF. So let's see blind SSRF. So what do you mean by blind SSRF vulnerability? When we say blind, it means that we are not getting anything in return. We are just trying to perform some action, but we are not getting any response in return, but the effect is there. So to identify that effect, we will actually use some burp collaborator to this. Whenever this lab is there, we will try to do out of band detection. When the request is able to interact with the burp collaborator, then there is an SSRF being happening. So in this way, we can detect this blind SSRF as well.